Alright, so I want to talk a little bit about talent points. This is kind of giving you a breakdown. If you go to your profile here, you'll see talent points down in the bottom. I have mine set up, let me hide this over here, for war in this castle. This is pretty much the castle that I take out and run a rampage from. And I like this castle. This has actually been done very nicely. This castle is kind of on loan to me because at any point, if the owner of the castle decides to come back, he is free and more than able to take it back. He's able to jump in and out of it as he wants, but for the most part, I've only seen him in the castle maybe twice in about a month and a half or so. And normally it's literally just to say, "Red, where are you?" So, very good castle. I'm going to show you right here when it comes to balance. Normally what people go for is this monster stamina, and that gives you one of the items when you're looking at talents down here. You got all these talents that you could potentially be using, but for the most part, I have mine set up where it's only using a certain amount. So you can tell I haven't put a whole lot into the balance piece, but I do have it to instant yield because I do want to have those extra resources every 12 hours. That's a pretty nice little gift in itself. Now, when it comes to the war, I went through here, and pretty much how I set it up was dependent on what I've seen for the attackers. A lot of attackers use certain things, and I've chosen to kind of go a little bit of an opposite way just to see how it works. So what you'll notice is I'm pretty cavalry heavy when it comes to the points instead of infantry. I get to my colossal march, then I go through here, and then I've actually gone to the bowmen. And I'll probably do the siege at some point later, but I'm trying to get to that march capacity. That's kind of cool. And then I really want that wounded conversion. Once you get to wounded conversion, pretty much you reduce a large percentage of how many troops die in an attack, and that's really, really a nice little thing to have. So let me kind of go back here. I have one of the colossal marches. I have pretty good damage when I'm using this castle. Now you'll notice down here at the bottom you have 1 and then you have 2. Once you get to VIP 12 or above, you actually get this quick talent where you can actually set it up where you have 2, and so you can go between war and then go between economy or balance, however you want to do it. A lot of people will use their castles for war and then for farming. Farming seems to be very important during peacetime. In our kingdom, we don't really have a peacetime. It would appear that people are jackasses 24/7 in our kingdom because everybody's trying to discredit everybody else. So please forgive my language, just pointing out the cold, hard truth. Shout out to The Rock, who asked me to give a shout out to him. And for the most part, that's the breakdown when it comes to talent points. I highly recommend going through and trying to get a lot of these right here. Emergency recall, that one I use a lot. March capacity, that one's really good. And you'll see right here I have, colossal march. And then I have the immediate recall or the emergency recall. And you can see that I've been using my instant yield. When it comes to the emergency recall, when I use it, for the most part, what I do is when I'm out attacking, I'll always have my emergency recall available. And if for some reason I get into a position where I feel that for the most part, I'm not too concerned unless a 30 ports in next to me. Or somebody that's in this castle, this is a 24. So if they're a 26, they can do some pretty good damage to me. But for the most part, I'll have an immediate recall or emergency recall. And then when I'm out doing my attacks, I always make sure that I'm reinforced fully, preferably by several people, because then people get the impression that you have a ton of people in your castle, and it kind of sways their opinion of whether or not they're going to attack you. Unless, again, it's a very large castle. In this case, if I were to go out and attack somebody, I would go out and just attack and have a good time. If somebody scouts me, I would have my anti-scout on. If they decide to march on me, I would be watchful. And if I think I could actually kill their troops, which is always my goal, I would hit the immediate recall button just before they get to my castle, and then wipe out some troops. And that is one of my favorite buttons. And, of course, I'm pretty happy to have that one. That one's a really fun one, because then you can hit somewhat larger castles and do more damage. So, happy gaming!